Where will the big upset come from in week 2? What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports. You're watching our college football channel. So last week we had the two big upsets were in the video last week. Colorado upsetting TCU, and then of course Duke upsetting Clemson. And like I said in the video last week, when we do this, it's almost every time there are at least 2 of the 8 games that are actual upsets. But there were some more upsets last week. How about Texas State upsetting Baylor? How about Northern Illinois upsetting Boston College? I don't know what the spread was for that one. I don't know if that would have actually fit in here or not. I think it was more than a field goal, though. And then also we had the other one was, of course, Texas Tech losing to Wyoming. So 3 pretty big upsets right there. Power 5 teams going down to Group of 5 teams. And I'll just be honest, I didn't really, those weren't on my radar. I just don't spend as much time on all the Group of 5 teams. And so I'm usually not going to hit on those. But we get to the Power 5 games here. There's one Group of 5 team that I think possibly could upset a Power 5 team. And if you're new, what we do is we take the 8 games that are most likely to be upsets, in my opinion, and the spread has to be 4 points or more to be considered an upset. And I'm not just picking the 8 games that have the lowest spread that's over 4, because just like last week, a lot of people talked about Cal and North Texas. Why didn't I have that in there? I felt confident that Cal was going to win that game, and they did. And so it's not just about, picking out some low spreads and put them on here. These are the 8 games that I think are most likely to be upsets. Not saying that they all are, but usually 2 of these games, at least 2 of these games, do turn out to be upsets. And I think we've had it as high as 5. And there have been a few weeks here and there where it was just 1 or maybe even 0. But I think you'll probably see a couple this week. We'll start with SMU Oklahoma. And we're going least likely to most likely. So this is the least likely of the 8 games. But I think this one is worth watching. Oklahoma's coming off of a huge win over Arkansas State. Feeling like, this is a great team or whatever. But Arkansas State could be really, really bad. And we don't expect them to be good, that's for sure. And it's not as much about Oklahoma, though. It's about SMU. I think SMU is going to be good this year. I think they're going to be one of the best teams at the Group of 5 level. They have playmakers all over the place. A bunch of transfers came in. You got Rhett Lashley calling that offense. So I think SMU will score in this game, and we'll just see how it plays out. Oklahoma's a big favorite, 15.5 points. Like I said, that is a big number. I think SMU can at least keep this game close. And who knows? A couple of turnovers, a couple of big plays. This thing could possibly be an upset. Next up, we got UCLA, San Diego State. San Diego State's already played 2 games. They're 2-0. UCLA's favored by 14.5 points in this one. Didn't look overwhelming against Coastal Carolina. And again, it's on the road here. So this one just intrigues me. I don't know a ton about the Group of 5 teams, like I said earlier, but I know San Diego State's a pretty solid team, and I think they could possibly pull off. If there is a Group of 5 over Power 5 upset, I think it's right here, or it's SMU over Oklahoma. Let's go to Arizona, Mississippi State. This one's at 7:30 Eastern Time on the SEC Network. Mississippi State's favored by 9 points. They were a little sluggish in their first game, coming out a little slow, and still a lot of question marks about what this Mississippi State team is going to look like this year, how good they're going to be. They've got a lot of experienced players back. I think they have a chance to be pretty good, but still maybe trying to figure some things out without Mike Leach. Arizona is a team and a program that's on the rise. They've got a lot of talented players on offense. Maybe they shock Mississippi State and pull off an upset here. I think this is one to watch as well. Next up, Ole Miss, Tulane, 3:30 Eastern Time on ESPN2. Ole Miss favored by 7.5 points. They're going on the road here to face a really good Tulane team. Tulane was another team that some people thought might be on upset alert last week. They went out and they took care of business against South Alabama. Ole Miss looked really, really good, but it was against Mercer, so we don't really know how good they're going to be. I think this is going to be a great game. I do not think this is one that you can just pencil in a win for Ole Miss. I think it's one that could really go either way. And like I said, I think it's going to be a good one. Ole Miss, Tulane, big game there. And I talked about the Group of 5. This is another opportunity for a Group of 5 team to get an upset. So this is the third one, actually, even though Tulane doesn't feel like a Group of 5, Power 5 game when we're talking about a Tulane team that's in the top 25, and they went to the New Year's Six last year, but still, technically it is a Group of 5 versus Power 5 matchup. All right, next we got Texas, Alabama, 7 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN. Game day is going to be there. Alabama's favored by 7 points. You know, going back to the preseason, I did pick Texas to win this game. After watching these teams play week 1, I don't feel quite as confident in that pick. In fact, I may change that pick. I'll let you know tomorrow. But, yeah, this is one where everyone's getting excited about Jalen Milroe and the way he played in the first game. But what is he going to do when he faces a really good defense? You know, that's going to be a big question mark. I think his legs will definitely help. I don't know that he's going to make a ton of plays through the air. This is a really good Texas defense. The problem for Texas might be going up against this Alabama defense, though. I think this is probably a lower scoring game. And a lot of times in these lower scoring games, you know, 1 or 2 plays can change things. A special teams touchdown, a big penalty, you know, a turnover. There's one play in this game that could potentially change the outcome. So I think it's going to be a pretty close game. Texas, Alabama, Crimson Tide on upset alert. How about another team, SEC team, Auburn on the road here at Cal. And Alabama's at home, but Auburn is on the road. They have to go all the way to the West Coast, play at 10:30 Eastern time, late night game against an experienced Cal team. Auburn's favored by 6.5. I'm actually surprised that number is that high. I think Cal has a real shot in this one. They've got Jaden Ott, really good running back. And like I said, this is one of the more experienced teams in all of college football. They bring in the transfer quarterback, who I think can help them out, give them that veteran presence there. So I think Cal's got a real shot here playing at home. Auburn's run defense, maybe some question marks there. One of the best linebackers injured. So this is one to watch for, potentially an upset. Next, we've got Wisconsin, Washington State, 7:30 Eastern time, prime time on ABC. Wisconsin favored by 6. This was a team that was kind of up and down in their first game. Washington State took care of business. They look really solid. This is a good Washington State team. I tell you what, the Pac-12 is 13-0, and they've got more opportunities this week to really make this conference look good. You've got Washington State here. They potentially could upset Wisconsin. What if Arizona upsets Mississippi State? I mean, this Pac-12 could be looking really good after this week if they can pull off some upsets. I think this is going to be a close game. Washington State, remember, shocked everyone, went on the road and beat them last year. Different Wisconsin team. I think Wisconsin is going to be really good this year, but it still, to me, looks like they're kind of figuring things out, putting the pieces together. Not quite the team that they will be, say, in November. And I think Washington State has a real shot to pull off an upset here. And then finally, we have Miami, Texas A&M. Spread's only 4.5 for this one. Aggies are favored playing on the road. I realize Miami's not the toughest place to play, but who knows? Maybe the fans come out for this one. It is a huge game. Both teams look really good in week 1. I felt like both teams look like completely different teams than last year. I think both teams looked improved. I know they didn't play the greatest competition, but still, it just looked different. Same thing with like Oklahoma. Earlier, you know, they looked really good, but I talked about SMU. I think SMU is going to be a good team. That's why I do have them on here. But these teams definitely look good, and I think it's an even battle. I think this one could really go either way. You know, it's just a hard one to pick, and honestly, I haven't made a pick on this game. I've really gone back and forth. So obviously, this is going to be the most likely upset if it's one that I have not even made a pick on. Low spread there, 4.5 points. The game will be on ABC, 3:30 Eastern time. An underrated game. I don't think people are talking about this one as much because you've got Texas, Alabama, but I think this potentially could be 2 top 15 teams at the end of the season, and so that would make this obviously just a huge matchup looking back. And the Aggies are favored on the road, but I think it's going to be a close one, and I think it's going to be maybe the best game of week 2. Week 2 schedule is loaded. It's much better than the week 1 schedule. All games all day Saturday. It's going to be a great weekend of college football. Not as many games, of course, on Thursday and Friday with the NFL starting, but Saturday is absolutely loaded. These are my upset picks for the week. You might be wondering, you know, Texas Tech, Oregon. Some people might be looking at that one. I don't see it happening. Texas Tech, I mean, they just didn't. I mean, they lost to Wyoming, and you could say, well, they'll bounce back, and maybe they will, but I just don't see that one happening. Utah, Baylor, I don't see that one happening. Baylor without their starting quarterback. Utah's a really good team. So these are the 8 games that I'm looking at to potentially be upsets, and we'll see if a couple of them happen just like week 1. But give me your thoughts. Which upsets do you think will happen? Which ones do you think will happen that I did not put on the list? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below.